member of the Rhode Island Voter Access Coalition, which is made up of 40 organizations doing incredible work on voter and voter access throughout the state, many of who they are here today. It is exciting to be here together after 2 years of collaborative work between our coalition, our lead sponsors, Senator Don Boyer and Representative Catherine Kazarian, and the board and staff of the Board of Elections, and the staff of the Secretary of State's office. I can't stress enough how important and pivotal this collaborative effort was to help this legislation succeed. When we lived in a virtual world just a little bit ago, we learned that many of us had similar ideas about the voter experience and increasing voter access. At the Board of Elections meeting, one of the board members, who is here with us today, Jenny Johnson, mentioned that we should all work together. The board, the bill sponsors, and advocates, and we did. And this bill is a direct result of that hard work and collaboration. I want to take a moment to thank all of our coalition members who from Represent Us, AFL-CIO, Common Cause Rhode Island, League of Women Voters, Working Families Party, NAACP, the ACLU, and my personal favorite, the Latino Policy Institute, not biased at all, as well as dozens of other organizations and countless individuals who made this work possible today. It now gives me great joy to introduce you our governor. But first, Governor, I wanted to say thank you for your support of this legislation. You sent a testimony in support and said countless times that you were ready to sign the bill when it came to your desk. Well, sir, thank you so much, and thank you to the House of Representatives and the State Senate for all your work. Friends, our Governor Jim.
Thank you, Marcella, and thank you everybody for being here today. I mean, it's, I've got a couple pens for other legislation too, with Senator and others, but we'll take one step at a time, and we're here to, to really talk about, a bill that is extends the opportunity for people to vote, and that's what democracy is all about. That's what our country was founded on, and that's what Rhode Island shows leadership on. And so, Representative Kazarian, thank you. Senator Hoyer, thank you for the roles that you played, and also all your colleagues in the General Assembly for making this a priority as we are coming up to an election cycle. And also, Jenny Johnson, happy birthday. That's well deserved. And thank you to all today for taking action on a bill that will make Rhode Island's voting process easy, safe, and secure. And I think we can all agree that there should be no hurdles when it comes to making your voice heard at the polls, as voting is one of our most important duties as Americans. And I think that one of the things that was a byproduct of the pandemic, and some of the things that we've adjusted and are thinking about many things, this is one area that I think is appropriate and timely to make sure that we take down those hurdles relative to voting. It gives each and every Rhode Islander of age the opportunity to have a say in how they would like to see their state and their country shaped. And at a time when several states in our country are curbing voting rights and making it more difficult for people to vote, particularly in those who live in minority communities, I'm proud that here in Rhode Island, we're making voting a simpler, more accessible process. No one should take a pass on voting because they don't have the access they need, or because they don't have the time. The Let RI Vote Act helps address that. And it helps ensure that Rhode Islanders across our state, from all 39 cities and towns, and from the communities that make up the 39 cities and towns, from rural communities like Borough, Situate, Boston, or Gloucester, to urban core, Providence, Seminole Falls, Pawtucket, and everywhere in between, including my hometown, Cumberland, all have a voice in their government. Many of the provisions in the Let RI Vote Act were implemented during the 2020 election, and it resulted in a record number of Rhode Islanders casting votes support. That's a good sign for our democracy, and we want to keep it going. And Rhode Island is leading the charge in many things right now, so why not lead the charge on this issue? I want to thank the bill sponsors, the legislators, and all the advocates that are here today. I understand we'll pull together and have a picture in the rotunda shortly after the signing, who saw to it that this bill got across the finish line in this session. Now I'd like to turn it over to our House Majority Leader, Chris Glazzuzzi, who actually has some boots in Cumberland as well. So Chris, come on up to the microphone, and thank you so much for your leadership, as well as the Speaker and the Senate President. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. This is a great day for democracy. It's also a great day for hard work, because I've seen firsthand how much effort went into this legislation, and particularly the work that I saw our Majority Whip Catherine Kazarian do to bring people together to get this legislation done. By talking to the Board of Elections, by working with the advocates, by working with the cities and towns, by working with the Honorable Senate and Senator Boyer, thank you so much for your contributions and on all the support we had in the Senate leadership on this legislation as well. It's an important day for democracy. I mean, we saw how important elections are and how fragile it can be, but here in Rhode Island, we can be assured that we're going to have safe, secure, and open and free elections. And that's so important for the continued vibrancy of our state. So I know many in this room are very excited to see this legislation passed. You know, I remember in COVID when we were all trying to see how we're going to run for re-election, how is this election going to work when we can't have people gathering together, and we came up with a system, and it worked. And it was mail ballots, and people used them and liked them. And so Senator Boyer and Rep. Kazarian came together with the advocates and with state government and city and town government to make sure that voters who love being able to vote by mail or early continue to have that opportunity in elections going forward. So this is a tremendous day for democracy, and I just want to thank you all for being here. And again, I want to thank Catherine Kazarian and Dawn Oyer. And I also want to just acknowledge that in this room we have Representative Marianne Shellcross-Smith. Thank you very much for your support of this legislation. And our future Secretary of State, Representative Greg Amore, is here as well. Thanks, Greg. And of course, the Secretary of State, thank you as well for your support of this legislation, the Governor. So with that, I believe I'm handing it over to Rep. Kazarian. And with that, Rep. Kazarian. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I am so honored and so excited to be here today for the signing of the Let Rhode Island Vote Act. This legislation is about expanding voter access and improving the voter experience here in Rhode Island. This bill does a lot of great things for our voters. Mainly, it allows voters to choose how they want to vote, either by mail, early in person, or on election day. It makes those mail ballot drop boxes that everybody loves so much permanent in every city and town. And it gives our visually impaired voters more time to request a mail ballot, which is very important. This bill also adds to the security of our elections by requiring the Secretary of State's office to check and update the voter rolls 4 times a year. Last, I am especially proud that this bill will put the application for the mail ballot online, which modernizes our elections and gives voters an easier way to access their mail ballots. Let's face it, this day and age, if you want to know something, you Google it. And I'm so happy for our voters they'll be able to do that in order to get that application. At a time when other states are trying to impede voter access, I am so grateful that Rhode Island has passed legislation that would encourage voter participation, which ultimately strengthens our democracy. I'm so proud of this legislation, like I said, but I'm even greater of the work that we did together to get this legislation passed. The teamwork and the collaboration that went into creating this legislation, to expanding knowledge about what this bill would do, and then ultimately getting it passed was just monumental. It was fun, and I'm so happy that we did it. I have so many people to thank, and I just want to go through a few of them. To my co-sponsors, especially my Townie Pride Never Sleeps, Representative Greg Amore, who stood with me, went through different questions, went through the bill multiple times. Thank you. To Representative Shellcross-Smith, who's with us today. Again, strong supporter, worked with the advocates with us. Thank you so much. To all of the advocates, and especially my friend Eric Cassahurst, who took, I can't even count how many calls from me and from Dawn. Thank you so much. I have to give a shout out to Bob Raposa, the director over at the Board of Elections. He did countless tours for us because I think a lot of learning is seen. He did so many for us. He did so many wonderful things. I can't thank him enough. Fred Marzilli, also in Ledge Council, again, worked with us on crafting this legislation. Rob Rock from the Secretary of State's office, again, another great townie. Thank you for all of your help. And of course, my counterpart in the Senate on all good things, Chairwoman Dawn Ure and Senate President Ruggiero for working with us to get this done. And last but certainly not least, our leadership team, Leader Chris Pasajewski, and of course our Speaker, Joseph Shikachi, for helping us get this done and get it done right. I just want to thank all of you again. This was really a team effort, and I'm so happy that we're here today. Thanks.
Hello, and I am so excited to be here and to speak after my good friend and counterpart, Whip Kazarian. It's always a good day when I know that she has the House sponsor of a bill that I'm so passionate about and working on. So it's always a fun pleasure to work with her on legislation. And you know, I can't stress enough how much what she said was true about the collaboration and effort that went into working on this legislation. It really is a monumental piece of legislation that really starts with a simple concept. It should be easy to access your right to vote. And that shouldn't be a controversial statement. It's something that we should all agree on. In our process, everyone's voice should be and needs to be heard. And giving voters the options about when and how to cast their vote is a way to ensure that our elections really do produce the results that reflect the will of the people, all of the people. So making sure that we were removing the unnecessary hurdles that were faced the voters that we knew that we didn't need because of our experiences in the pandemic was really so key. Being able to go through and really kind of look at Rhode Island's elections law from that voter access point of view was so it was so exciting and so important, especially at the moment in time that we are at in our democracy, where there's constant attacks on the right to vote. Other states are using this moment in time to roll back voter access. And here we are in Rhode Island, standing and moving voting access forward, really giving folks the opportunity and more ways to vote. The online mail ballot application, as Kazarian said, that's going to be such a great opportunity. You know, you can apply for a bank account, you can do anything online, and now being able to apply online for a mail ballot, being able to vote from the comfort of your own home. I can't stress enough the number of folks that I heard from who said, I'd like to be able to get my ballot at home, I want to look at the candidates' websites, I want to read about the issues, I want to be able to take my time with it and not feel the stress of being in line at a poll and knowing that I'm holding up the person behind me. So really giving that versatility of the folks who may not be able to make it to the poll on election day, but are comfortable going to city or town hall to be able to cast their vote early, to finally be able to agree that we're going to call it early voting in Rhode Island and give people the access to early voting ahead of election day is so critically important, and it's going to do so much to be able to help voters really make sure that they're exercising their voices in our election. I couldn't be more proud and more thrilled, Rhode Island, for taking this step today. And what I will say to all of you here, especially those who worked so hard on this bill with us today, is that we need to continue to stay vigilant. Even as we saw the floor debate and the discussion on this bill, we heard the disinformation rhetoric that is being used nationally in an effort to roll back voting rights. We heard that here. That is taking root in Rhode Island. We need to stay vigilant and committed to pushing back against that disinformation, committed to maintaining voter access and continuing to advance important bills like this. I thank you all for your partnership and for your support in this legislation. I thank you to the governor, to the Secretary of State, the majority leader, to Whip Kazarian. Marcella, I can't say enough about how great Marcella has been at leading the coalition to make sure that we got this done. Thank you too. I believe I saw George Nee here earlier, and Pat Crowley from the AFL-CIO. You know, it really does take a village to get something big like this across the finish line. So let's continue to work together, let's continue to protect voting, and let's really celebrate today. Thank you.
So I think that takes us to the end. Now we can proceed to second.
pleasure, and thank you for everybody's leadership on this. We want people to vote.
Great.
We want people to vote. So that's the plan. That's one for you, and Rep. There you go.
Thank you.
And for you as well. Excuse me. Certainly one of the stronger accomplishments, I think, in the General Assembly, and quite some time, right?
Yeah.
Not that you're not doing the work, but this is this is what we're all about. People to vote, right? Yes.
Absolutely.